bookworms, Jess the bookworm here. So I meant to have this video filmed and posted by the 14th. It is the 16th, so not too far behind, but yeah, I definitely meant to film this the past weekend and just have it up and posted, but things did not work out like that. I think how I'm looking right now is kind of a little bit indicative of my mental state from this past weekend. I was just not having a good mental health time. So, but I'm feeling better now. And I want to talk about love today. I meant to do a double here. Love. So, we're going to be talking about favorite couples since, you know, it was Valentine's Day and all that good stuff. So I want to talk about some favorite couples from fiction that I figured to kind of help us talk about favorite fictional couples that I love. I'll talk about my favorite real couple that I love, which is me and my husband. I know, gooey, right? So I'm going to put in some pictures just to show you guys me and my sweetie poo, my little honey bunches. He doesn't want to be in this video, but I love him. And so I'll kind of give you a little bit more about how we met and all that kind of stuff as I talk through some of my favorite couples. Because yes, there is some, you know, things that relate between the couples that I picked and us. Not everything, but some things. We were married 12, 13, 14. Because we thought the date sounded cool. So that was December 13th of 2014. So that means we have been together for 7 years. 7 Valentine's days. So let's get into talking about some of the fictional couples. And again, I'll share a little bit more about our dating, marriage, life history as a couple as I talk through the books. So my first favorite fictional couple is Simon and Baz from Carry On. If you have read these books, it's kind of a series, but not really, at least with this one. So this is the first book that I read that had to do with the Simon and Baz like fan world. Kath is one of our main characters who writes a fan fiction for a show that she loved, and she writes all about Simon and Baz, and then this is basically her fan fiction that she's written. So this is like the character contemporary, and then this is actually digging into the fan fiction that she wrote, and it's a fantasy. And then of course this is followed up by Wayward Son. I was definitely more of a fan of the first one than the second one, but they are such, Simon and Baz are such just a cute couple who definitely go through a period of like enemies to lovers. Now, I did say these relate to my relationship with my husband, Kyle, but we were not enemies. But what we do have in common with them is that we attended the same high school. So we went to the same school. We didn't really know each other. They attend the same school. They're actually roommates, and they get on each other's last nerve as roommates. And Simon Snow is like the chosen one, and Baz is a vampire, but people don't really know that, but he assumes that he is, and it's just a whole thing. But of course, they end up just forming the cutest couple who, you know, has to really like learn about how to interact with one another, because for so long they've just been like, we're complete opposites, we hate each other, that's how it has to be. But, you know, obviously things change. So my next favorite couple was Natasha and Daniel from The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is an amazingly sweet story. We've got Natasha, our main character, or one of the main characters. It's told in like a dual point of view from either Natasha's or Daniel's point of view. And so we see all the same interactions from each of their perspectives and just see how like it changes based on the person. And Natasha is very about facts and science. She's very practical. She does not believe in like fate or, you know, finding a true love or like, you know, love at first sight, any of that stuff. and she's dealing with her family possibly being deported back to Jamaica. And so she's got a lot of things happening. She is not looking for romance in any type of way. And this story kind of takes place, I think it's over like a day or maybe over a few days in New York City, which is where they both are. And Natasha runs into, and it's like a meet cute situation between her and Daniel. And Daniel just falls in love like at first sight. Like he's like, nope, this is fate. This is the girl I'm supposed to be with. And he kind of just pursues her from there. It's very cute watching like how she's almost like trying to keep up a barrier, but he's just breaking down all of her barriers because he knows that they are meant to be. I wouldn't say that like me and my husband, Kyle, were like a love at first sight thing because obviously we went to high school together. Did not even really know each other until later on. The only way that I could make this one, because I had to use this book, make this one relate to our relationship is that one of our first like trips that we took as a couple was to New York City because he knew I'd never been, and it was an amazing trip. I'll have to like include some pictures here, but that was such a fun trip. I still haven't been back. I only went that one time, and it was just amazing. So beautiful. So the next book that I want to talk about, and this is a series that I've talked about quite a bit on my channel because I've read 2 of the books in this series this year, last month actually, and I'm probably going to read the next one this month in February, but that is the Others series by Anne Bishop. The first one is called Written in Red, and if you haven't heard me describe this book before, basically we have a world and earth that's very different from ours. Humans are not the like most dominant species. The dominant species are the others, and they have been able to transform. They can either be in like a human body that they've taken on, or a form as like a bear or a wolf or a shark or an owl. There's tons of different forms that they could take. And so throughout this series, they're kind of like trying to figure out how to deal with the problem of humans, because a lot of them they're like, you know what, humans are just messy. They pollute things, like they try and take our territory, but they're also learning, okay, not all humans are like that, and like we can compromise and get along. And what kind of caused a big shift was Meg, our main character, who is a blood prophet, which means that trigger warning here, she does make cuts that reveal prophecies to her, and she has kind of been taken in by one of the courtyards where the others live. And these courtyards basically are meant to watch over the humans in a particular area and make sure they are not leaving like the land that they should be on, make sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't be doing. Basically like babysitters for humans. So Meg and Simon Wolfgard are the couple that I'm referring to now. If you've read these series, you're probably like, wait, what? They're not even really a couple. True. This series has had like a slow burn, like will they, won't they type relationship going on since the beginning. They had a cliffhanger at the end of the 4th book that was kind of like, will they end up in a relationship? But even if it doesn't turn into like a full-fledged relationship, they're still like very good friends throughout these books. And the way that they support each other, I think, is awesome, because Simon is helping Meg to deal with her addiction to making cuts to reveal the prophecies. He's also helping her to kind of become acclimated to just living around other people. She was kept in kind of like a compound where she didn't have any freedom. She couldn't do anything on her own. And she's helping Simon learn about humans and learn that there is more to humans than just, you know, what he might have originally thought. So I can kind of relate this to me and Kyle's relationship because I feel like we support each other a lot. We help each other get through tough things, and we're always encouraging each other to grow and to expand and to see things in a new way. So the next couple that I want to talk about is Dimple and Rishi. And this is obviously from the novel When Dimple Met Rishi. And this was such a cute book. This one I actually listened to as an audiobook, and I just absolutely loved listening. This one, again, is dual perspective. So listening to those two different perspectives was awesome. We have Dimple, whose parents are kind of like, you know, they keep bringing up having like, you know, her getting the most ideal Indian husband and, you know, talking about kind of arranged marriages and things. And she's not really thinking about any of that. She's really excited that her parents have actually agreed to let her go to this summer program where she can, I think it's like web development that she's learning about. And so she's super excited about that. And then on the other hand, we have Rishi, who his parents have talked to him about, you know, arranged marriages and things, and he is just psyched about it. He cannot wait to be matched and paired up with somebody. He's looking for that stability. He's super excited about getting to know the person. Well, their parents, Dimple's parents and Rishi's parents, kind of go a little bit behind, at least Dimple's back, and they kind of plan for the two of them to meet up at this summer program, which you can imagine would be pretty shocking to Dimple when she finds out about that. But it was adorable. They're definitely like kind of opposites, but they do learn, you know, that they have a lot of important things in common, and it just turns into such a sweet little romance. I loved it. I can definitely relate this to me and Kyle's relationship because I feel like we do have a lot of things that are opposite of one another. I feel like he's more outgoing and he likes being around people and he's just better with people than I am. And I feel like I'm more like the quiet, introverted, like to read and sit here, talk to a camera, read my books, that kind of stuff. But we have things that are the same that are very important to both of us. So, all right, the next couple I want to talk about is Zuri and Darius from Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This was such an amazing retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I loved it. It kind of all focuses around this community called Bushwick. It's in Brooklyn. And Zuri is very proud of where she comes from. She's proud of, you know, her community. And she's been seeing a lot of changes happening in that community where, you know, she's saying rich people are moving in and changing everything. And it's just, you know, gentrification basically. And the Darcy family moves in, which Darius is a like teenage son in that family amongst other sons. And they move in. And so instantly Zuri kind of like is looking at him thinking, you know, you're moving in, changing my neighborhood. She's not wanting things to change. She's kind of wanting, you know, of course to like go to college and move on and do other things. But she wants to have that home, and she has like a pride in her home and where she came from. And so she doesn't really want it to change. And they just kind of, you know, have to work through some of that. It's Pride and Prejudice. So we kind of know what happens throughout the story basically. But it was such an amazing retelling. And I thought they just made a cute couple. Zuri is definitely, I would say, a bit more outspoken and passionate. I enjoyed reading her character a bit more than I did Darius's character, but I just thought that the way that they kind of come together and realize, okay, so we do have these things that, you know, are different about us, but there's so many things that we have in common. So kind of similar to the last book, you know, finding those things that are commonalities. So the only way I can really, again, make this book work for our relationship is that I had always lived in like a small little town, small little community where Kyle has moved all over the place, lots of different states when he was younger. And so, you know, that's how I'm making the connection here. I don't know. It didn't really change anything in our relationship, though we did shortly after becoming an item moved together on our first grand adventure to North Carolina. And now we've moved again on our next grand adventure to Kansas. So we are movers and shakers. I don't know. I'm trying to make this fit with this novel in some way. Doesn't really fit, does it? But it's fine. You know what? It's fine because I like them as a couple and I may use it. My video, my rules. So the last couple I want to talk about is a couple from the novel Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. And in this novel, we have Yahira and Camino, who have found out that they are actually sisters after their father dies unexpectedly in a plane crash. We have Yahira, who lives in New York, and we have Camino, who lives in the Dominican Republic. And it is a dual perspective novel written in like verse. It's beautiful to read. And in each of the chapters, we kind of go back and forth. We hear about each of their perspectives and each of their lives separately. We hear about the relationship that they had with their father and just kind of all of the, things that they wished they could have said to him, the things that they did say to him, the things that happened. And so it was just kind of like very powerful to hear their differing perspectives. But the reason I'm talking about it in this video is because of a couple in there, which it's actually Yahira and Dre, her girlfriend, and they grew up being friends. And then they, realized that there was something more there. And the way that they support each other, though, is just amazing. When Dre finds out that Yahira's father has died, she comes over and is just there for her. They don't need to talk. They don't need to talk through the feelings or emotions. She's just there for her, cry on her shoulder, totally fine. And later on in the book, I don't want to spoil anything, but when Yahira needs something done, she is instantaneously there. No matter if it maybe gets her in trouble later on, she's just there for her, supporting her no matter what. So I definitely feel like Dre and Yahira supporting each other just like wholeheartedly and being there for one another no matter what and stepping out on a limb for one another definitely relates to me and Kyle's relationship. I really liked them as a couple. Of course, they were not like the main focus in this book, but I just liked what we got, and I liked how they stepped in when, kind of like nobody else could step in or say anything that's going to make them feel better. They could step in and just be there with them through the pain, not trying to make it better. So, which I think is an awesome quality in a couple. So you have down in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. And let me know if you liked any of these or didn't like them, or you have any recommendations for future books to read. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.